afternoon, upper primary, and welcome once again to a new week and another edition of Performing Arts with me, Mrs. Bates, and we are back around the world. So we have got our snazzy jazzy tap routine to continue with. We've got our clowning work. We're going to look at a new element of that today. And then, of course, that's sea shanty competition. And I know some of you have been doing it in class time as well. Getting a bit ahead of the others, you see. Cannot wait to see who wins this and gets those all-important 50 house points. And, of course, a social media superstar. So we will hesitate no further and get moving. We're going to tap first, as always. So have you got your long hair back? Have you got comfy clothes in to move around? I've got this new hoodie off Mrs. Taylor today. Live, love, lions. I am full of lying spirit today. Lying? Lion. I'm not lying. Have you got loads of space to move around and water nearby? I'll just shut up and we'll get tapping. All right, upper primary tappers. I'm walking towards you. Double check I press record. I'm not being weird. Okay, so we are back in the tap shoes, back in the studio, and I am back to full exercise, full health, which is so exciting because you know my favourite time of the week is this warm-up jam. Love it. So let's remember what we've got. Hop, hop, jump, jump in, shunt to flat, heel, a flat, heel, a flat. Heel, a flat, heel. Let's practice it without music first. We go. Hop, hop, jump together, shunt. So the shunt is what we push forward and put them heels down. Then we've got the flap, which is the two sounds with the toe. Put the heel down, flap, heel, heel. And then of course we're good to go on the other side. Hop, jump together, shunt to flap, heel, 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 flap, heel. All right, shall we get this up and running? Let's get the tunage flowing, peeps. Right, where is it? Down to the honky tonk. Here we go, ready? Hop, hop. 5, 6, 7, go.
Got a house down a back road, got a flag.
Straight to the left.
You got a dog,
His name's William.
I got a driveway, and he's paving. I got a boat,
Right.
and a two-stroke.
Let's wait for the chorus. Roll one more time.
To make you laugh jokes, I got friends in low places.
Right there.
Real life
6,
is what you
7,
need.
ah!
End up in the Hall of Fame with stars. I like my
Okay.
statue in my hometown when I'm gone. Nobody
We should do like a grapevine after, shouldn't we?
after me and my life go down in history.
Very nice.
I go down to the honky.
Right. So, people, now that we're nice and warm, let's just recap the new moves that we've done and our dance. So far we've got all the combinations of heels and toes. Toes, 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 heels, heels. Of course on both sides. This is why I'm better on my right leg because I keep doing that. Must use this leg more. Then we did shuffles, which was a lot of action from the knee, from the ankle, depending on how small you're making them. And that's just the forward back of the toe. The heel has to stay right up, just so we don't get any sound from the heel at all. We add that into our routine. Then on Thursday, we did them pickups, which is where you like lift up the toe, and then you flap it backwards, making sure it hits the floor. And we did pick up step, pick up step, pick up step, pick up step. All right? I am going to make life so much more complicated for you today by turning them into pick up hop steps. But they are quite difficult. They do take practice. I'm doing a tap with year 7, 8, 9 at the moment as well. And do you know what I always say to them? It's like learning lines in drama, learning to play a musical instrument, learning to sing a song, learning to dance, any genre. There is no quick fix. You're never just going to wake up in the morning and be able to do it. It takes lots and lots of practice. And that's what it's worth doing, isn't it? Because then when it looks really cool afterwards and we've worked hard, we will reap the rewards by the applause. So I will show you how to make that move slightly more complicated with a pick-up hop step, which looks like this. Wowzers, my heels didn't even go down. Or you can go back to the old one if you want to, okay? So let me show you that first in slow-mo, and then we'll add it onto the dance, right? So I'll do it sideways for you. So remember how we like, just hitting it back, hop, step, all right? Now the thing with it is, that's fine, it's just pick up, hop, step. So just try that a few times. Pick up, hop, step, pick up, hop, step. But can you see when I'm doing it, I'm not putting my heels down? Yeah, so we can't use that initial thing that we did. We've got to be a little bit cleverer with it. So, I'm trying to work out how to do it myself. What you need to do is put all the weight back on the other leg, and then you just lift it and tap it back. So you don't need the heel. Bam, hop, step. See, heels are still up. Bam, hop, step. Bam, hop, step. Bam, hop, step. Okay, let me show you the other side. So we're keeping them heels up, put it all the way back, and you're literally picking it up and slamming it off the floor. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah, it's almost a bit like a skip. Because if you think about it, a skip's just a hop step. Skip them backwards. Hop step, hop step, hop step. And all you need to remember to do, so lift that toe up and try and make that noise before you skip. All right, so my lovelies, when we get to that point in the dance, you have not one, not two, but three tres, count them, options, okay? We're only going to do three. I thought there was four. I did four last week. We're only going to do three. You can either do what you did last week, which was pick up using your heel and step back. 1, 2, 3. From the side that looks like. 1, 2, 3. Or you can do the skipping backwards. Hop, step, hop, step, hop, step. Hop, step, hop, step, hop, step. That gets us a little bit more used to that movement. That's like intermediate level. And then advanced, if you're feeling brave, and eventually you might as well just go for it, people, is the pick up, hop, step. Okay, it sounds really cool, doesn't it? But I know it is a tricky one. So, with that in mind then, you've got three options. Let's start from the beginning without the music and see where we're at with it, okay? So we start facing side, feet are in a jazz second, which means toes point forward. We wait for, we go, head, toe, then we turn around, we went step, toe, toe, toe. I'm sure there was three, wasn't there? Then we went shuffle, stamp, shuffle, toe, heel. Do you remember? Shuffle, stamp, shuffle, toe, heel. Then we had that flap, just like we do in the warm-up, the honky-tonk. In, out. Yeah. So let's just go from the shuffle bit. So we go shuffle, stamp, shuffle, toe, heel, flap. In, out. Oh, we did them arms, didn't we? Well, I did. Then that foot's there, ready to go. Da, 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 da. Yes, pick up, hop, step. Times 3 in whatever amalgamation you have chosen. Okay? Let's just try, do it one more time without the music, and then we'll do it with the music, okay? Because it's quite quick, them things. So it goes. Ba-da-da-dum. Head, toe. Turn around, stamp, toe, toe, toe. Shuffle, stamp, shuffle, toe, heel, flap, toe, toe. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Or, flap, heel, heel. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Or, flap, toe, heel. Skip, skip, skip. Still makes quite a nice sound, the skip, actually, doesn't it? They are your three options. We have got time to try a couple of times with the music, okay? So I'm not adding on more material to the dance as such today, but I'm just making what we've got harder and really sealing in the whole stuff that we've got so far, okay? Because there's quite a lot of moves in there, and it doesn't repeat once on each side, does it? So it is a tricky little mover. Let's have a wee listen then.
Amalgamation A.
Here we go.
Tacit and stop time.
Head, toe. Stop. Shuffle, stop, shuffle, up you go. That's going to take some doing. That is grade 3, I think. Grade 2, that's grade 2. That's quite hard, isn't it? That is grade 2 ISTD tap dance. So, yeah, you've got to get these pickups quite quick in those worlds. Shall we try it one more time, people? Let's give it a whirl. If you tried it this way and you found it was too easy, maybe you now want to try it with the hop thing. Maybe you give them a go and it completely put you off, so you need to move a step. You know how you learn. So make a decision now about what you're going to do. Are you going to keep the same? Are you going to make it one harder, or do you need to bring it down one for now? Make that call. While you're having a think, I'm going to get the music back to the beginning and we'll give it another whirl. Oh! Do not pause.
Amalgamation
Okay? Here we
A.
go.
Tacit and stop time.
Head, toe. Shuffle. Beautiful, and that just lines up lovely for our tempo change, cracking along that way, which are all moves that we've pretty much done before. We've run out of time, tappers. We are going to move on to our clowning work in drama. I hope you enjoyed. See you on the other side. All right, upper primary actors, welcome to today's drama lesson. And you can see from the board it is called time play. I'm going to explain what that is in a moment, but first of all, let's just not forget the skills that we pick up every single week. So have a moment to reflect on last week and answer this question: what was our main focus? So we had one focus or a theme for Tuesday and Thursday. Can you remember what it was? And if you can, just take a moment to think about some of the activities and tasks that we did to make ourselves familiar with it. Can you remember? So as a recap, it was called variation. I don't know if you can see that in yellow. Variation through repetition was the phrase that we explored. And this was where we added variety to a repeated intention, which changed the meaning to the audience. So by that I mean, we had the give it to me no phrase over and over, and we looked at how we can say the same things over and over, but add different elements to it, change it up a little bit, which makes it more urgent or more relaxed. It gives more of a story, more of a context to our audience. And we played with pitch and volume and speed of how we delivered the lines and what that meant for us within the scene. I then said, clowns can't talk. So how can we do it with our bodies? And we looked at different gestures of what it means to say give it to me and what it says to me no with our bodies, and how can we make it more intense. We had that like graph with the arrow. How could we build the scene? And of course we watched the professional show of them with one guy having the banana and the other clown wanting the banana, and how did they build that scene using variation through repetition. So as the title might suggest, today we're going to look at timing during performance. We looked at a little bit of the speed of us talking last time, but of course we aren't going to be allowed to talk, are we? So how can we play around with timing? Before that, I have a question for you. Can you think of any performers or actors you've seen who don't use words to communicate? Silent performers. You may have seen it live on stage back many moons ago when we were allowed to do those kinds of things. Perhaps you have seen on TV, in movies, anything where the actors or performers don't talk. Have a moment to think. Got anything? Now, I'm not exactly the best with the kiddies. I don't have children. I have told you this before, I do not go home and find cartoons and children's things. But I could relate this to actually our ballet module that we did last half term. Do you remember how the ballet was always telling a story? We had the day of the races. So ballerinas constantly tell stories without talking. That would be one thing I know. I also know, maybe you've seen some things like this, that I believe it was the 1920s had the era of silent movies. So maybe you've seen mums and dads watching old black and white movies with stars like Charlie Chaplin in, and there's like kind of piano music in the background, and the whole movie has no talking. So that was very, very famous back in those days. I'm sure there are modern equivalents that you have seen as well, because it still happens. So we've mentioned this before, and we need to remember it. Theatrical clowns do not speak when they perform. And a theatrical clown is just obviously a clown within a theatre setting. So, other things that we need to think about that I haven't told you yet, and maybe you've noticed when we watched the professional piece, is that clowns look at everything as if it's for the first time. So did you remember a couple of weeks ago when we did the element of surprise? And the female clown opened the box and there was the apple. And like she looked at the apple like it's an apple. There are like hundreds of thousands of them in the grocery store, chill, you know. But everything is as if for the first time. That is just a clown thing. That is a clown tradition. They take their time. And do you remember how I said back at the beginning that clowns were meant to be an everyday Joe kind of character? They weren't super, super intelligent or super, super rich. And it almost plays into that a little bit. And how people found it funny when they made mistakes or made errors. So it almost gives them that simplistic feel. Like everything's new and they're exploring stuff, okay? Second thing is they manipulate the time it takes to carry out tasks. By manipulating it, it means pulling it, moulding it, changing it, sculpting it to give a different intention to the audience, which we're going to have a look at this week, okay? So, making things take longer, speeding things up, what does that do to our character? So, to start us off, we have the classic wave, as demonstrated by, I'm trying, is that a scary clown? I mean, I'm not really scared of clowns, but I know some people are. And it's taken me longer to find Google images of non-scary clowns than it is to actually write the lesson plan. Hopefully that's not a scary clown. Let's all give a wave. We can see that. We know how to wave. If we were clowns, we might be waving for the first time. Let's do a wave as we know it. So maybe everyone does a bit of a different wave, but essentially a wave, a greeting, right? Now, we're going to try it again, but we're going to think in our minds, this is the first time I have ever waved, okay? I have never had this sensation in my body. I do not know how the person I'm waving to is going to react. I'm not sure if I'm doing it right. I don't know. I am trying this for the first time, okay? Let's give that a try and see how it feels. So we might have looked a little bit unsure in our face, took our time as we brought it up. It wasn't in our muscle memory yet, so it almost felt a little bit awkward because we weren't used to it. Like if you learn a new language and someone gives you a new word, I've been doing Rosetta Stone Latin American Spanish at the moment, and some of these words, I'm like, hija, hijo, like I'm not used to that noise, and it sounds really awkward. And that's what this reminds me of. For the very first time, like, oh, so this just kind of moves from side to side. Am I doing it right? That kind of feel, okay? Now, let's play with time. That's really weird. I've literally just gotten an email from Rosetta Stone. You discovered how to wave. So we know how to wave now. What happens if we wave in less time? So we're going to wave much, much quicker now, okay? So we've got our person in front of us, our person that we're waving to. Let's do it really quick. All right, ready after 3? 1, 2, 3. Ooh, give that another go. 1, 2, 3. How does that feel? And how does that look to watch me do it? How does that change? Have a moment to think. I don't know, what kind of person was I when I did that? Or what kind of person were you? I felt excited, maybe a little nervous. Like I haven't seen someone for a long time. I was trying to be welcoming and friendly, maybe a little bit over friendly, I don't know. Strange, but it definitely felt super, super different to the first time wave, you know. Let's have a go. But now we're going to wave and take much, much longer. The wave doesn't seem to stop. It just keeps going. Let's have a feel for that. We've got our person that we're waving to in front of us. And let's see how that feels. Oh my goodness, we could do that all day, couldn't we? But we need to get through some content. How did that feel? Who were you then? Who were you waving to? What was your personality? Do you know what that felt like to me? It was like it was like a goodbye wave, and I didn't want them to leave. So my initial thought was like the Titanic. And someone was on a boat or a ship, maybe I'm in sea shanty mode already, and they were leaving, and I was on the dock like waving for ages because they were just still going and going and they could see me. So I was just like doing that for ages, and it was kind of slow and sad. Or like somebody's walking away, leaving your life, like when my mum comes to visit me and then she has to go back to England and I just don't know when I'm going to see her again. And it's like a sort of slow, sad one. Kind of reminded me of competitive. That's such a different meaning for the same action, isn't it? Incredible. All right, so our last task for today, oh my goodness, I've been talking too much, is to create a greeting. So I've got pictures here of two very standard greetings you may have seen and are famous in different parts around the world. The good old-fashioned handshake, grabbing someone's hand, moving by the forearm, and the bow when you face someone and you tilt from the hips and bend forward. Now, you might have somebody with you and you can do it together, or you might have to pretend to grip someone. You're going to choose one of these, so either the handshake or the bow, and we're going to experiment with the timing. So you've got 3 seconds now to decide, are you going to work with the handshake or are you going to work with the bow? Have a think. All right, I'm going to go bow because I did handshake with lower primary, so I'm going to mix it up. So now, I'm going to pretend there's somebody there because I'm on my own. And I'm going to bow really slowly. So whether you've chosen the bow or the handshake, do it now really slowly. Ooh, straight away something came to my mind there. Now let's try really quickly and see how that feels. Ready? Here we go. Do you know what? They actually kind of felt like a similar scenario. I'm going to try them one more time. So let's try it slowly. Here we go. And let's see what happens when we try it really quickly. Here we go. It's right. So the slow one was like I was a bit frightened or intimidated by someone. Maybe I was shocked at who they were, and I was like, oh my God, don't mess this up, don't mess this up, don't mess this up, don't mess this up, take your time, be respectful, be respectful. And then the second one was, again, like somebody was really powerful, and I was like, oh, yes, 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 like a bit more of a panicky character almost. Maybe it's because I don't really bow as a greeting. I'm not from a country where we would traditionally bow. Have a moment to think how that felt for you. All right, so I have to finish now. I've got an extension for you if you'd like to. You can pause the video and have a go at this before we do our sea shanties. If you're with someone, have an experiment of doing it at 2 different speeds. So if you're with a brother or sister and you're both going to bow, what if you bowed really, really slow and one of you bowed quick? Play around with that and see how that changes the scene, because all of these decisions change the scene, and actors very often have to make those decisions of how is it clear to the audience what they want to look like and who they want to be as a person. But we've run out of time. So I am going to stop and we are going to get on with the sea shanty competition. So exciting. Let's do it. Ahoy there, sea shanty Hey sailors, and welcome to another instalment of Mrs. Bates' helpful hints and tips. Now you might have noticed I've moved the camera really close. I need to remember not to move around too much or I'll go out of the shot. I'm going to play a song for you in a moment and it's going to have some lyrics up. So that is why I have done that. I'm not just like, you know, getting in your face. So let's have a recap before we do that. What was our focus last week? Have a moment to think. Can you remember? This is week 3 now of this new topic in the competition. So what did we think about last week? I will tell you if you have forgotten. We looked at the call and response element of sea shanties, didn't we? And you wrote the first line of your song. So we had that, I was going to give it away. Question. What was the name of the song we sung? We sang a song. And there was like a solo line and we sang something and a solo line and we sang something, then a chorus. And that structure repeated all the way through. But what was that song? Can you remember? It was, and we're bound for the Rio Grande. Da, da, da. Remember? And it was like, pick a tune, any tune. It was a bit all over the shop. Practice more, Mrs. Bates. But it was called Bound for the Rio Grande, or we pronounced it the Rio Grande in the song, didn't we? So that back and forth that you're going to need to think about when you write your sea shanty. So today, this week's focus is going to be sailor language. What are some words and how will we speak when we are writing our song and making it specific? So this is called genre-specific terminology. So genre is a style. What words, terminology, vocabulary fit with that style or that task or that job, okay? So words that are used in a certain field or subject area. So something we all know is school. What words do we use in school a lot that might not be used in other places of work or other places? What words do you use a lot in school? Have a moment to think. Speak to somebody next to you if you've got somebody there. It's tricky. It's kind of things that we take for granted and say every day, but then if you went and worked in a grocery store or you went and worked in a theatre or you worked in an office block, you wouldn't say those things. So these were some of the ones that I came up with. So seesaw, that's like definitely a school thing, especially for primary. Even you see in secondary we don't use seesaw. So I only ever see seesaw when I'm talking to primary teachers and talking to you guys. I use manage back a lot when I'm talking to secondary students because they see all their work and get comments and house points on manage back. So they're really specific words, aren't they? Genre-specific terminology. Playground. I can't imagine many doctors and surgeons talking about the playground. Duty rota, that's one for us teachers. So we get put on rotas of who's going to be on lunch break, who's going to be on duty break, and we get sent that. So we might talk about a duty rota. Spirit wear, these are all our clothes with our school logo on. Maybe people will say uniform. A lot of people, firemen and policemen, will wear uniform, but spirit wear is very specific. Homework. What other place of work would you mention homework? That's very school specific, isn't it? Lessons and curriculum, that's what we're going to teach. IPC for you guys, so what your IPC topic is. This is all genre-specific terminology. Words that if you are talking about school, if you are in school, if you are writing a song about school, you might want to put them in. So our question is, as sea shanty music producers and composers, what language might we need? Because we aren't sailors, maybe some of you guys go out on boats at the weekend, I don't know. But I'm not a sailor, so I'm going to need to know how I'm going to make that fit with our theme. What did I put there? Oh, hello. So I've put what words might sailors use. So before I give you the answer, I've pushed you that little bit more. Now that we know what school words are, let's have a think now. What words might sailors need to know? I've tried to put some examples at the top that might help you. Can Well, hold that thought. I'm going to share some with you and see if you got them all right, if you thought of any that I didn't. So right now I'm going to play a song called Blow the Man Down. Okay, we have listened to this sea shanty right in the first lesson. I'm going to try and put the lyrics up on the screen if the computer lets me, and we're going to have a look at any words that aren't familiar to us. Some of them might be to do with genre-specific terminology in terms of being a sailor working away on the sea. Some of them might be the time that this was written, the period. So don't forget, words and language change over time, okay? So give me 2 seconds. Duplicate the screen. Yeah. Duplicate. Don't be stressy, Mr. Computer. There we go. And change to this. Make it full. So hopefully you can see, or listen if you can't, hopefully that's clear, the words. Let's have a listen to this song.
Oh, blow the man down, bullies, blow the man down. We wait, blow the man down. Blow the man down, bullies, blow him away. Give me some time to blow the man down. We was over the bar on the 13th of May. We wait, blow the man down. The Gallagher jumped and the gale came away. Give me some time to blow the man down. Down Paradise Street, we wait, blow the man down. A saucy young damsel I happened to meet. Give me some time to blow the man down. I says to her, Polly, and how do you do? We wait, blow the man down. Says she's none the better for seeing of you. Give me some time to blow the man down. Oh, sailors is tinkers and tailors is meant to be waiting, blow the man down, and we're all of us coming to see you again. Oh, give me some time to blow the man down. So we'll blow the man up and we'll blow the man down. We wait, blow the man down, we'll blow him away into Liverpool town. Give me some time to blow the man down.
Give me time. Hopefully you could see that, people. So that was Blow the Man Down. I tried to mouth the words at the same time and like half sing it. I mean, I kind of learned my lesson from last week, not to sing something really loud if you haven't practiced. But hopefully you could see the words there. So some vocabulary that might have been new to you. So you could hear, I'm guessing, the all the stuff we've looked at so far, the really steady rhythm, da 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 da, hey, blow the man down. It was really, really steady rhythm for doing a chore on the ship, yeah? And then, of course, you did have the way call and response, because the one person would sing la 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 la, and everyone would sing way, blow the man down. Someone else, ba da 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 la 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 la, give me some time to blow the man down. Very, very similar structures. I'm hoping you're getting used to the way that they're written now. So, way, hey, blow the man down. What on earth does that mean? Well, that describes the weather conditions at sea. So it's literally meaning the wind is blowing the man down, okay? So someone that is falling over or they're trying to do work, and don't forget you're on deck, on top deck, that's a good genre-specific terminology. And all conditions, you're out in the middle of sea, okay? It's not always going to be calm. Paradise Street it mentioned, and then it kind of gave it away a little bit at the end. That was a street in Liverpool in the UK. I looked this up. And in fact, I've been on Paradise Street, I'm sure I have. Anyway, it is near the dock. So sailors used to visit it a lot when the ships would dock, and it had many bars there. So they're talking about going out drinking after they've been at sea. And they mention a saucy young damsel named Polly that they meet on Paradise Street. I've definitely been to Paradise Street. And it's a pretty young woman. So you can see some of this stuff is to do with being a sailor, being blown down with windy conditions that we wouldn't really be worried about being in a school. Saucy young damsel, I wouldn't recommend calling anybody that. It is a very old-fashioned term for saying a pretty young woman and might not be looked upon so favourably this day and age. So, Fitbit says we've run out of time. That is worth thinking about. Have a think about those words. I'm going to help you on Thursday. I'm going to do a short lesson on Thursday so you get some more time to write. Okay? Again, if you want to have a listen to any sea shanties while you wait for Thursday and just listen out and pick out some words, start to make a list even of words that sailors might use, start to Google that, and I'll give you some helpful hints and tips on Thursday to help you with writing your sea shanty. Well done for today, everybody. I will see you on Thursday.